a really strong community here at BCU, but it's that thinking outside the organisation as well, and bringing these three universities together. It's a great opportunity to talk with others. I'm a pracademic. I'm also radically retired, so I've been in education for over 40 years now, and that includes teaching. So I'm a musician, a music teacher educator, and now work with the masters team, and we're doing quite significant work with future leaders. I'm really fortunate. I say significant because I'm really fortunate to work with a fantastic group of colleagues who've got some wonderful courses. And it's interesting in the way my colleagues and myself think about what we're doing, particularly in terms of masters, but I think it also leads into level 8 as well. And it's that idea of developing future leaders, having this future orientation. We've done a little bit of research. We did a little research project. We had a pilot project, bit of funding from the university, to look at how we interact with students online. Come on, where are we? Let me move this forward. That's it. So, we're recognising there are lots of different ways of working. And I think that context and the way that we're working and personal stories are coming through today. And I think I'm really interested in that notion of practitioners, that idea of practice-based research, insider research, practice-led research, which obviously links back to arts-based research in particular. So that idea of really a student or a colleague who's studying for a master's or a doctorate taking ownership of their work and their practice, and looking at their practice critically, and in a space, if you like, where we're giving them permission to do that within a master's or a doctoral space, to look at their practice critically. And I think that's hugely powerful, and it's that glimmer of hope that Mike was talking about earlier. I think the way students, actually given the opportunity, you open that door just a little bit and shine the light on alternatives, different ways of looking at things, going beyond compliance. They then lap it up and they fly. And actually that whole idea of thinking about the way we're working with students, really valuing them, rather than assessment on students or for students, actually assessment with students. So it really becomes dialogic, and that sense of an auto-ethnographic space where they're really contributing from their perspective. I think these are really powerful ways of reclaiming some of that space that's almost taken away from colleagues in education, by almost an oppressive approach towards, particularly at the moment, teacher education. It's very worrying, isn't it, what's happening? And I think actually perhaps within this context of apprenticeships, and this hits other domains as well, other subject domains, about the way apprenticeships are dominating what's happening certainly in our post 1992 institution. And I think it's that question, what is the distinction between FE teaching, and I'm a trustee in an FE college, and I'm really interested in that idea of what FE teaching is as compared with HE teaching. And my feeling, and it's a personal perception, but it'd be lovely to hear what other people think, that apprenticeships are much more associated with that initial training and that FE approach where you are engaging in knowledge exchange, and there's limited opportunity, or appears to be limited opportunity, to move into knowledge conversion or knowledge creation, which is really, I think, disappointing. But I think it becomes particularly problematic when we're thinking about leadership, and where leaderships, our future leaders, particularly in education, are coming from. But also, again, in terms of HE, those leaders of pedagogies, in particular through professions, through various types of practice, whether it be art or nursing, and we do quite a lot of work with our nursing colleagues. So that whole idea, are we, by focusing on apprenticeships, are we putting under threat a post 1992 university, that idea of an HE institution? It's a question it's me, perhaps, as I say, being radically retired. I've got a privilege. I can ask that question, I think. But therefore, so what is HE teaching? What is that pedagogy that we want to, and particularly for me in the context of practitioner education? I remember teaching, you know, when I taught beginning teachers, it was very much a focus on pedagogy, and I pushed that. And particularly, you know, I quite like the idea of a pedagogy being a process and that relationship between learning and teaching. I do like the idea of learning coming first and how we really value the learner. And that, again, that goes back to that critical pedagogy perspective where we're valuing our learners and what they bring to the educative space. I think that's really powerful. So, you know, to me, thinking about what we're trying to do, we're thinking of supporting, facilitating, whatever you want to call it, but being tutors for future leaders. We want to place them at the centre. We want to promote their agency, really engaging with that questioning, that critical academic inquiry, but also being constructive. And we've again, one of my colleagues has come up with this lovely design for a dissertation where they produce a leadership artifact and really, you know, contribute to a dynamic field of practice rather than just seeing it as something where they're complying. They're actually contributing, their voice is valued. So it's that creating a research orientation, providing them the opportunity to question, for me. And that's the, if you like, the first level of criticality, isn't it? Just having the opportunity to question, and to question why are we doing that? And that to me is the opportunity to do that, I think, is enriching for me as well, you know, because the answers they come up with are so different to the answers that I would come up with. I'm not sure of my timing, so if someone can tell me if I'm going over time, do let me know. So I think, I mean, the idea of apprenticeships are helpful. I mean, I'm not trying to undermine the importance of apprenticeships. You know, that whole issue about situated learning, legitimate peripheral participation. Try saying that after a few pints. And that, you know, that whole process of coming into and developing mastery in your area, really understanding your field is hugely important. But there is a danger that it becomes an elitist approach, and I've certainly seen it within the context of music education, where, you know, that mastery is actually about this is the approach, and actually there's no other way of doing it, which is really sad and really limiting in terms of seeing a field of practice as being dynamic, and also that sense of a future orientation. So that idea of looking forward, how can we create the conditions? And I think this is about HE, looking forward in terms of and questioning, isn't it? And that criticality, that critical pedagogy perspective. Perhaps it's a critical hootagogy we need to be talking about, you know, that whole idea of self-determined learning, you know. I think there's some really interesting perceptions there, and about that, again, this eliciting their contributions, their insider practice, their leader-led perceptions. What is happening to them? What are they doing in terms of their particular context, and linking that to a research orientation that, you know, really then contributes to that dynamic field of practice and looking to the future. That's what I'm really interested in. So, you know, how do we prioritise emerging and established educators and leaders in our institutions, in addition to those important apprenticeships that are being prioritised at the moment? And how can we facilitate these education leaders to become future orientated through their leadership-led research? You know, and that's really where I am. So what do you think? Thank you.